Hi, I am Revathi. I am working as Assistant Professor in SNS College of Engineering in Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. Today we are going to discuss the topic about non-serializable schedule. A non-serializable schedule which is not serializable is called a non-serializable schedule. A non-serializable schedule is not guaranteed to produce the same effect as produced by some serial schedule on any consistent database. Non-serializable schedule is divided into two types, that is recoverable schedule and non-recoverable schedule. Recoverable schedule in which transaction commits only after all transaction whose changes they read commit are called recoverable schedules. In other words, if some transaction Tj is reading value updated or written by some other transaction Ti, then the commit of Tj must occur after the commit of Ti. Example, consider the following schedule involving two transactions T1 and T2. This is a recoverable schedule since T1 commits before T2. That makes the value read by T2 correct. Here there are two transactions, that is T1 and T2. In T1 transaction, first we are reading A account, again writing A account. Then the control is transferred to T2, writing A account, then reading A account. After that, the T2 control is transferred to T1, then commit. After that, T1 control is transferred to T2, then commit. Check whether the given schedule S is conflict serializable and recoverable or not. Here there are four transactions T1, T2 and T3 and T4. In T1 transactions, writing X, T2 transaction, reading X, writing Y and reading Z. In T3 transaction, writing X. After that, in T4 transaction, reading X, reading Y, then giving commit. List all the conflicting operations and determine the dependency between the transactions. We are going to define the dependency between the transaction. R2 of X, W3 of X. That means T2 to T2 control is transferred to T3. R2 of X, W1 of X. T2 control is transferred to T1. W3 of X, W1 of X, T3 control is transferred to T1. W3 of X, R4 of X, T3 control is transferred to T4. W1 of X, R4 of X, T1 control is transferred to T4. W2 of Y and R4 of Y, T2 control is transferred to T4. Now we find out the dependencies for this transactions T1, T2, T3 and T4. Now we need to draw the precedence graph for the dependencies. First, T2 control is transferred to T3. Again, T2 control is transferred to T1. T3 control is transferred to T1. T3 control is transferred to T4. Again, T1 control is transferred to T4. T1 control is transferred to T4 and T2 control is transferred to T4. In this graph, no cycle in the precedence graph. Therefore, the given schedule S is conflict serializable. Checking whether S is, that means S denotes yes, S is recoverable or not. Conflict serializable schedules are always recoverable. Therefore, the given schedule S is also recoverable. Alternatively, there exists no dirty read operations. What is meant by dirty read? A dirty read occurs when a transaction read data from another running transaction that has not yet committed its changes. That is called dirty read. So here there exists no dirty read operation. This is because all the transaction which update the values commits immediately. Therefore, the given schedule S is recoverable. Also, S is cascadeless schedule. Here we will discuss about non-recoverable schedule. Here, what is meant by non-recoverable schedule? A non-recoverable schedule means when there is a system failure, we may not able to recover to a consistent database state. If the commit operation of Ti doesn't occur before the commit operation of Tj, it is non-recoverable. For example, consider the following schedule involving two transactions, that is T1 and T2. T1 and T2 transaction. First, in T1 transaction, we are reading A. After that, we are writing A. After T1 transaction completes, we are T1 transaction control is transferred to T2, writing A, and after that reading A, giving commit. After committing T2, then control is transferred to T1, then abort T1. T2 read the value of A returned by T1 and committed. T1 later aborted. Therefore, the value read by T2 is wrong. But since T2 is committed, this schedule is non-recoverable. Thank you.